Legislation aimed at transgender student athletes is now headed to the governor. It was added to an education bill as a last-minute amendment last night before passing the House and Senate. The House previously passed a standalone bill. It would have allowed public schools and colleges to request a health exam and a consent form to verify a student's biological sex. A similar bill stalled in the Senate. The amendment that passed removes the exam requirement, but it still requires athletes to prove their biological sex with a birth certificate. News 6's Lewis Bolden has reaction from both sides of the situation, all new at 6.
This bill is discriminatory on its basic level. It violates human rights.
Jeanette Jennings knows firsthand what it's like having a transgender daughter playing sports in Florida. In 2008, at the age of 8, her daughter Jazz was banned from playing soccer on the girls' soccer team. And at 13, initially wasn't allowed to play varsity girls' tennis.
I'm not allowed to play because I'm transgender. I don't think I deserve to be discriminated against.
But a more trans-inclusive policy later allowed her to play sports in school on the girls' teams.
By the time she was in high school, she had already had clearance through the Florida High School Athletic Association, so she was allowed to play sports.
Jennings says the bill that is now headed to the governor, which will ban transgender females from competing in girls' and women's sports in the state, is a step backwards.
There's far more important things to do in this country than to pick on trans children who already have a 50% suicide attempt rate.
I voted in favor of the transgender bill.
Representative Ray Placencia represents Orange and parts of Brevard County.
This wasn't something that was an attack on the LGBT community in no way whatsoever. My record proves that.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. No.
Brianna Rockmore says lawmakers did not take into account hormones that trans women take when transitioning, which lower testosterone and increase estrogen.
With those two things, that's changing how your body works. So, for instance, with the hormones, I'm not as strong as I used to be.
I believe that if you're supporting the LGBTQ plus community, you support from the smallest person to the oldest person, and that means no discrimination at all.
The legislative session ends tomorrow, and the governor is expected to sign the bill. In Orlando, getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
Lewis, thank you. The Orlando-based U.S. Tennis Association just shared this response to this bill. Its statement says in part, quote, "Tennis thrives when the sport embraces inclusion. We unequivocally support and welcome all transgender student athletes to participate in our Florida tennis programs." The legislation could put Florida's chance at hosting some collegiate competitions on the line. The NCAA has promised to choose locations that are, quote, "welcoming and respectful of all participants." It has not commented since this bill passed last night. Right now, Florida is scheduled to host 17 NCAA championships through 2026.